Assalamu alaikum. This is your computer science teacher, Sir Fawadakhtara, and in today's class we will discuss about the functions, but into the pseudocode. So basically, function is similar to the procedure, but basically, what does the function do? It returns a result, or it returns a value to the main program. But in the procedure, what we learned, that it when we call it into the main program, then it will be executed, but the procedure does not return any value or any result into the main program. So the only basic difference between them is the function always returns a value or your result into the main program whenever it is called. So basically it is the same thing, just like a procedure, that it is a small block of code, or it can easily be break down into the smaller chunks and deal with the compiler efficiently or smartly. So the same thing that what we have learned into the procedure, the same thing applies to the function. So yeah, this is a function basically. It is just like a procedure to organize and manage your code. So the question in my mind as a student, that what is meant by returning a value. So basically returning means like it is sending a result, or it is sending a value from the function to the main program. This is what it means basically. So it returns the value into the main program and then executes the information. So the purpose of returning the value is that the when we return the value to the main program, so the same value can be used in other operations or in other calculations, etc. So that is why we used to return it. So next thing is, what is the difference between the procedure and a function? Like, why do we make the function if we have got a procedure? So basically, as I told you, that function always return the value to the main program. So the value can be, or the result can be used with the other calculations or the desired tasks. So this is the first difference. Next, procedure basically emphasizes on performing the specific task, for example, just outputting a message or updating the data. But a function's result can be used in further operations or the calculation or the required task other than the function basically. Next, procedure can be called to execute a series of actions, and of course, it is just simply called into the main program. But the function used to perform the specific task, which can be stored, or you can say that it can be executed immediately. So these are the same thing that we have studied in the beginning, but I have compiled it in the form of the proper text. So let us start making the function. Okay, so in the last class, I also showed you the Python code, so the same syntax will be followed into the pseudocode. For example, this only one difference is we write the keyword function in the uppercase. Okay, now let's understand the syntax of the function. So first of all, we write the keyword function. Then after writing the keyword function, we go for the name of the function. So this is the name of our function, for example. And then this is a parameter that we will work for the input text. So this will be the name of our variable, and its data type is a string. And in the last we write return string. So it means that entire function, the whole function will return the data type string. So the whole function will return the data type string. So this is how it works. So now let's start working on the practice question. So now let's make a practice. Let's try to solve the practice question. It is similar to the procedure question. I am making a similarity so you can easily understand the difference between writing the pseudocode in the procedure and a pseudocode in a function. So you can compare that how do we write the pseudocode in the procedure and the function. Now let's start. Okay, it says that write a function to input a name, then convert into the upper and lower case, and then output. Obvious question. So let's start working on the body of the code. So I am leaving some lines for the declaration and initialization, along with the space of a keyword of the function name and this and that. So now I input I input a name and then vary in the and store it into the variable, and the same thing like I use a formula of uppercase, and the uppercase means convert our text which is stored into the variable into our variable uppercase, and then we will convert our variable names text into the lowercase. So our variable name, whatever it contains the text, it will be converted into the lowercase, and then we will store it into the variable lower, and then we can. Now here I am merging the variable uppercase. I am merging the variable uppercase, and I am merging the variable lowercase along with the text. For example, in the upper, my if I input my name, so my name will be displayed in the uppercase, and with some gap and will be displayed, and after some gap my name will be displayed in the lowercase. So let's, for example, I show you a demonstration. What I want the output. So this, and then some space, and after some space my end will be displayed, and then after some space my name will be displayed. So this will be the output. This will be the output that I want. So here I use this methodology, and I store it into the variable upper lowercase. I typed it in the short form upper lowercase. And then as we studied that in the function we always return the variable or our result into the main program. So we write the keyword return in the uppercase, and what I want to return, I want to return a value, or I want to return this variable which stores my text, or which stores my information, or which stores my data. So I store it in my variable, so I want to return this variable. Now let's do the declaration and initialization. Okay, so I did the declaration and the initialization. You can see. Okay, I typed this code in the visualbasic.net for the testing purpose, and then I copied it into the Word document. So basically, that is why you can see that AS is written there, because I first test the code in my programming language and then I convert it into the pseudocode for the better understanding. Okay, G. So now it's now our main code has been done. Now we have to write it into the function, inside the function. So let's see the syntax of it. Okay, G. So here I have written the keyword function. I have written the keyword function, and then my function name, and in my function name I will take the variable name because it is our uh, variable which is used to store the text. So basically it is the placeholder or the input variable that we will utilize to store the text, and this entire function will return the data type string. And when we open the function, we also close the function as well, just like the procedure or the loops or the conditional statements. Now next step. Okay, now next thing, outside the function, what do we do? Basically I take the variable result, and in this variable I am storing my function. This is the name of my function. But what does my function has got? Basically it contains a variable name, and whatever my variable name holds the strings. So these strings will be converted into the upper and the lower case. So the strings are stored in the variable name. So this variable name is my argument. So when you write the function, you can use your sensible arguments. So the name of the arguments must be sensible. So it makes a sense that this argument will work with my function, and entire thing is stored into the variable result, and then I display the message along with the prompt. And now I can declare my variable and initialize it. So this is how we complete our function. So the arguments and the function names are all set, and yeah, now let's try to solve another question. All right, now the same question that I used in the procedure, I am utilizing the same question to show you the writing difference or the syntax difference between the procedure and writing the function. So how do we write the function and solve the question using a function? So you can see the requirements of a question, that we have to write a question to input a real number. Then we must make sure that the user must input the correct number and follow the boundary, and then we have to round off to the two decimal places, then output the number. Now let's start writing the body of the code and leave some lines for the declaration and the initialization. Okay, so I take the user input, and you can see that with the keyword I take the user input. Then I make sure that he must follow the boundary, like the number must be below 5 and the number must above 20. But this code will ask the user one time, but we have to make sure that the user must input the correct number inside the boundary. So we have to use a loop. So I have already used a loop. Now I am deleting the extra spaces. Now here we can see that the loop is here, and then we have to close it with the until condition. So you can see that the code is inside the loop, and I cared of the indentation. Now let's perform the next step. What I am doing, I am using the function of a round. It will round off my variable which holds the integer data, or sorry, real data or the decimal numbers, and it will round off to two decimal places. If you want to round off to three decimal places, then write 3. If you want to round off to four decimal places, then go for the 4, and so on. So two decimal places our real number data, and it will round off. An entire function will be stored in my variable round numbers. After that I have to return this variable round number into the main program, so it can be easily executed. Now let's end the function. I write the keyword end function, and now I write the function name along with the declaration and the initialization. Okay ji, so you can see that everything is set to go. I use the keyword function, then my function name is round underscore OFF off. I use two F's because OF is the keyword, so, or the reserved word, so I did not use the reserved word. Although I can use a single F, but we do not use a reserved word or keywords as the names. But for the purpose of the explanation, I am using a single F. So round off, and then I use my variable, because this variable will be used as an input. This variable will use to store the input data, and it will be in the data type real, and then the whole function will return a real data type. So we have to make sure that the whole function will return a real data type. So yeah, then declaration and the initialization and the entire code. Now next step is to call pass the arguments into the main program. So now we are passing the arguments into the main program. Ignore this thing. Now I store my function name. This is my function name. For the explanation purpose, I am writing it underscore and a single f. So this is my function name, round underscore off. And what does it do? It will pass the argument round underscore number, which you can see written here. So this is a round underscore number that we will use the same as the argument. So now after that we are storing it into the variable result, and then we can display it. And here we can do the declaration and the initialization. So yeah, extra things I used to remove it because yeah. So I hope you got the concept of the function as well. But if you have still got queries, so kindly WhatsApp me, and inshallah we will discuss there. Thank you so much taking out the time to watch the video. Take care. Allah Hafiz.